If I think back to my own mother's life, she was born in 1908. Women couldn't vote. Only 18% of them worked outside the home, and only a few jobs. You could be a maid, you could be a teacher, you could be a secretary. You couldn't take a loan out in your own name. It was another world, culturally, economically, politically. And now to think where we are, where women are half the labor force in every kind of job. So what a revolution. And so I decided to step in to see how this revolution was going. Was it compatible with happy families? How does it fit the workplace as we know it? How did it fit what the government thought it ought to be doing to make American families function well? I first got the idea of a second shift from a woman I was talking to who said, I go to work, I'm on. I come home from work, the kids need to be fed, they need to be put into a bath and put to bed. I've got to get lunches ready for tomorrow, put the laundry in, on. Then I go to sleep and I wake up. And she said, life at home has become a second shift. What I really wanted to do was find out, do women work a second shift? How does it work out? Who does what at home? And how do they feel about what they do? What I did for a book I came to call A Second Shift was to first go to a Fortune 500 company and get every 13th name, sent out a short little questionnaire, would you be willing to be interviewed? People who volunteered, I sat down with in the living room and asked if they would be willing for me to really make a case study of them. And I was studying women married to husbands, both working full-time, who had kids 6 and under, the crunch. At first, I just observed and positioned myself as the family dog, someone just hanging out. And what I began to notice is that women actually spent more time dealing with the children and the house. They were more likely to do 2 things at once. They would be folding the laundry and on the phone. Guys would do things one at a time more often. What I was finding is that women were going home to husbands who said, sweetheart, love to have you working so long as you can do most of the housework and raising the children. And they went out to jobs where the boss was saying, Susie, love to have you here so long as you're here at 8 on the dot and leave 5:36. Really a workplace that had originally been designed for men with stay-at-home wives. And then she went into a culture in which the government said, oh, you're on your own, I'm not going to help. They wanted very much to live happy family lives, but something was getting in the way, and what it was disagreements about what a man's role and a woman's role was. And I found that the happiest families were those who did come to some agreement and who did share the second shift. This revolution in the transformation of women had led to fast-changing women and slow-changing everything else. And it was creating strains, and the family became the shock absorber of those strains. So what looked like a personal reason for unhappiness or even divorce, I began to see as a result of a larger stalled revolution. And I set about trying in a way to look for solutions to unstall that revolution. I went to another Fortune 500 company, and that was supposed to be very avant-garde in offering a lot of family-friendly policies. I was looking at job sharing, at good part-time work with benefits. I was looking at career sabbaticals and flex time and flex place. In other words, for both men and women, were there jobs out there where they could really put their heart in it and do a good job, but it gave flexibility for balancing work with family. The workplace that I was studying was amenable to more flexibility, but it laid on long hours. And that was true nationally, that middle-class jobs were getting longer and longer, taking more time. And working class jobs were not each one job taking longer, but people were often working 2 jobs. That meant there was less less time to be with your kids and tend to your home. If we're talking about work-family balance and the unstalling, the stalled revolution, I think we have to look fundamentally at ourselves as a society. In this day and age, there's a lot of instability in the economy. And in the workplace, managers are leading workers to cross-train each other so that you can move from one job to another. You develop multiple competences. I think we need the same thing at home, that men need to be able to do what women have done and women do what men have done.